"You're horrible for demanding a paternity test," she screamed when it came back negative. So I disappeared completely. 5 years later, she saw my pregnant wife and finally understood what she lost. Hey viewers, before we move on to the video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if you want to see more stories like this. Thanks. I still remember the exact moment I realized my entire future was built on a lie. Jenna was sitting on our couch, pregnancy test in hand, tears streaming down her face. Happy tears, I thought. We'd been together 4 years, lived together for 2. I was 28, she was 27, and I'd been planning to propose within the year. Kids were always part of the plan, just maybe not quite this soon. "I'm pregnant," she whispered, and I pulled her into my arms. "That's amazing," I said, and I meant it. Sure, the timing wasn't perfect. I was drowning in a major project at the architecture firm, designing a new civic center that could make my career, but we'd figure it out. That's what couples do. Looking back, I should have noticed how she didn't quite meet my eyes. How her smile seemed forced. How she kept her phone face down on the table more than usual. The next 2 weeks were a blur of excitement and planning. I started looking at 3-bedroom apartments. Researched the best school districts. Called my brother Tyler to tell him he was going to be an uncle. Meanwhile, Jenna seemed distant, distracted. When I'd talk about baby names or nursery colors, she'd nod along, but her mind was clearly somewhere else. "You're just stressed about work," she'd say whenever I asked if something was wrong. "You're never home anymore." It was true. I'd been pulling 60-hour weeks on the Civic Center project. But that was temporary. Once this was done, I'd have more flexibility, better pay, a real foundation for our family. I thought she understood that. Then I found the messages. It was stupid, really. She left her phone on the bathroom counter while she was in the shower. It buzzed. I glanced at it, just instinct, and saw a name I didn't recognize. Derek. The preview showed. Can't stop thinking about last night. My stomach dropped. I knew I shouldn't. I knew it was a violation of privacy. But my hands were already unlocking her phone. I knew the passcode. We'd never hidden that from each other. And opening the thread. The messages went back months. Flirting at first. Then increasingly sexual. Then explicit. Derek was a guy from her marketing firm. The timeline was clear. They'd been sleeping together since at least 2 months before she got pregnant. I sat on the edge of the bathtub, phone in my shaking hands, trying to do the math. She was 8 weeks along. The affair had been going on for at least 12 weeks. The bathroom door opened. Jenna stood there in a towel, saw her phone in my hands, and went white. "Marcus, who's Derek?" My voice sounded calm, detached, like it belonged to someone else. She grabbed for the phone. I held it away. "It's nothing, just a coworker, Jenna." I read them. The color drained from her face completely now. She sat down on the closed toilet lid, towel clutched around her, and I watched her cycle through emotions. Panic, calculation, defiance, tears. "It didn't mean anything," she finally said. "It was just, we were having problems, you were never around. I felt lonely. How long?" "Marcus, how long have you been sleeping with him?" She closed her eyes. "A few months. But it's over now. I ended it when I found out about the baby. Is it mine?" The silence that followed felt like falling through ice. "How dare you?" she finally whispered. "How fucking dare you ask me that?" The timeline overlaps, Jenna. You've been sleeping with him since before you got pregnant. It's yours. She stood up, anger replacing tears. "I know it's yours. Then you won't mind a paternity test." That's when she exploded. Called me horrible, cruel, untrusting. Said I was using this as an excuse to abandon her. That if I loved her, I wouldn't need proof. That asking for a test meant I never really loved her at all. I just stood there, listening to her scream, and felt absolutely nothing. The man who'd been excited about baby names 2 hours ago had disappeared. In his place was someone who suddenly saw everything with brutal clarity. "I'll be staying at Tyler's," I said quietly. "Schedule the test whenever you want. My lawyer will be in touch about the lease." "Your lawyer?" She grabbed my arm. "Marcus, don't do this. Don't throw away 4 years over one mistake. Schedule the test, Jenna." I packed a bag and left. She called after me from the doorway, but I didn't look back. The next 6 weeks were hell. Jenna's texts started desperate and apologetic, then turned angry, then desperate again. Her friends began calling me. How could I abandon a pregnant woman? Did I have any idea how hard this was for her? Mistakes happen. People cheat. Real love means forgiveness. I blocked them all. Tyler let me stay in his spare room and didn't ask questions I wasn't ready to answer. I told my boss I needed to work from home for a while due to personal issues. The Civic Center project became my lifeline, something concrete and real I could focus on while my personal life disintegrated. My lawyer arranged the paternity test through a clinical facility. Jenna fought it at first, then agreed when she realized I wasn't coming back without one. We scheduled it for after the first trimester when it was safer. The day of the test, I met her at the clinic. She looked exhausted, dark circles under her eyes, hair unwashed, wearing sweatpants I'd never seen before. Part of me wanted to feel sympathy. The rest of me remembered those messages. "We don't have to do this," she said in the waiting room. "We can just move forward, be a family. We're doing this." She started crying. The other people in the waiting room looked at me like I was a monster. I stared at the floor and said nothing. The test itself was quick. A blood draw from each of us. Then 2 weeks of waiting for results. Jenna tried everything during those 2 weeks. Love letters slipped under Tyler's door. Emails about how she'd go to therapy, how she'd quit her job to get away from Derek, how she'd do anything to make this right. Her mother called me, crying, begging me to give her daughter another chance. I didn't respond to any of it. The results came back on a Tuesday. My lawyer arranged for us to meet at his office. Neutral ground. He handed me the envelope first. I opened it, read the words, "Probability of paternity, 0%, and felt the last small hope I'd been carrying. The hope that maybe this was all salvageable. Maybe the baby was mine, and we could work through the cheating, finally die. I slid the paper across the desk to Jenna. She read it, stared at it. "Read it again. This can't be right," she whispered. "They made a mistake." "They didn't make a mistake. Marcus," I thought. "I really thought it was yours. You knew it could be his." She looked up at me with red-rimmed eyes. "What does it matter? You could still raise it. Lots of men raise children that aren't biologically theirs. We could still." "You lied to my face for 2 months, Jenna. You knew there was a chance this baby wasn't mine, and you let me believe it was." "I didn't know. I thought, Derek doesn't want anything to do with it." And there it was. The real reason for all the desperation. Derek had already bailed. "So you knew it could be his," I repeated. "You knew and you lied." I was scared. She reached across the desk, trying to grab my hands. I pulled back. "I made a mistake. I was confused and scared and I chose wrong, but I love you. Marcus, I've always loved you. I hope you and Derek figure this out. We're done here." I stood up. She shot to her feet too. "You're really going to do this? Just walk away." "Yes. You're going to regret this." Her voice turned sharp, vicious. "You think anyone else is going to want you? You're boring, Marcus. You're married to your work. You're going to end up alone, and you'll realize I was the best thing that ever happened to you." I looked at her, really looked at her, and saw a stranger. Someone I'd never really known at all. "Goodbye, Jenna." I walked out. She screamed after me. My lawyer assured me he'd handle the rest of the lease termination. That night, I blocked her on everything. Phone, email, social media. I deleted every photo, every message, every trace of our relationship from my digital life. Tyler watched me do it, drinking beer on his couch, and didn't try to stop me. "You good?" he finally asked. "I will be," I said, and I meant it. The next few months passed in a blur of work and numbness. I finished the Civic Center project ahead of schedule. It won a local design award. I got promoted to senior architect at 29. None of it felt real. I started seeing a therapist. She helped me understand that grieving the relationship, the future I'd imagined, didn't mean Jenna deserved another chance. That I could mourn what I'd lost while still knowing I'd made the right choice. Through mutual friends, I heard updates I didn't ask for. Jenna had a boy, named him Liam. Derek had disappeared completely, changed his number, moved to another city. She was living with her mother, working her marketing job, but barely holding it together. I felt nothing hearing this. Not satisfaction, not sympathy. Nothing. 6 months after the breakup, I saw her baby announcement on Facebook before I unfriended her. The photo showed her holding a tiny infant, forced smile on her face, caption about new beginnings, and stronger than ever. The comments were supportive, but I could read between the lines. Everyone knew what had happened. Everyone knew why Derek wasn't in the picture. I closed the app and didn't think about her again. I threw myself into work. Took on an international project that had me traveling to Portland for 3 months. Started running again, something I'd given up during the relationship because Jenna thought it was boring. Joined a climbing gym. That's where I met Sarah. She was a physical therapist, funny and grounded and completely herself. We got coffee, then dinner, then started actually dating. She knew about Jenna. I didn't hide it. And she didn't judge, didn't push, just let me move at my own pace. "I'm not in a hurry," she said once, 6 months into dating. "I like where this is going. We'll get there when we get there." She was right. We did. By the time 2 years had passed since the breakup, Jenna felt like a story that had happened to someone else. I'd hear occasional updates through the grapevine. She'd lost her marketing job after too many missed days with a sick kid, was working retail and doing food delivery. Her mother had kicked her out, so she was in a cheap apartment across town. I didn't feel good about it. I didn't feel bad about it. I just didn't feel anything about it. Sarah and I moved in together. I made partner track at my firm. We got engaged, bought a house. Life became everything I'd always wanted it to be, just with someone who actually deserved to be in it. Then, 4.5 years after the paternity test, Sarah got pregnant. We were over the moon. Started planning the nursery, picking out names, reading parenting books. This time, everything felt right. There were no lies, no hidden phones, no doubts. Just two people building something real together. That's when Jenna found me. I was at work, reviewing blueprints for a new residential project, when our receptionist called my extension. "Marcus, there's someone here to see you." She doesn't have an appointment, but she says it's important. Her name is Jenna. My stomach tightened. I hadn't heard that name spoken aloud in years. "Tell her I'm busy. She has a child with her. She's pretty insistent." I closed my eyes. Took a breath. "I'll be right down." The elevator ride to the lobby felt endless. What could she possibly want after all this time? Why now? Why here? The elevator doors opened, and I saw her immediately. She looked rough, older than she should have. Hair pulled back in a messy ponytail, wearing a stained t-shirt and jeans that had seen better days. Dark circles under her eyes. Defeated posture. Next to her, a small boy, 4 years old, I realized, sat on the floor playing with some toy cars she'd brought. Liam, Derek's son. "Marcus." She stood up quickly when she saw me. Tried to smile. It didn't reach her eyes. "You look good." I didn't return the pleasantry. "Can I help you with something?" We need to talk." "Can we go somewhere private? I'm in the middle of a workday." "What's this about?" She gestured to the boy. "This is Liam." I looked at him briefly. Dark hair, brown eyes. Didn't look anything like me. "Okay." He asks about his dad sometimes. "You should probably figure that out with Derek." Her eyes welled up immediately. "Derek's gone. He's been gone since before Liam was born. I'm drowning here, Marcus. I can't do this alone anymore. I'm sorry you're struggling, but I don't know what you want from me." "I want." She glanced around at the receptionist, lowered her voice. "Can we please just talk privately? 5 minutes. Jenna, I'm not sure what you think is going to happen here. Please." Her voice cracked. "We had something real once. For years together has to count for something. We did have something real. Then you destroyed it. I made a mistake." Her voice rose. Liam looked up from his cars. "One mistake, and you just abandoned me. Do you have any idea how hard this has been? You didn't make one mistake. You made dozens of choices over months. You chose to cheat. You chose to lie. You chose to try to trap me with a baby that wasn't mine. I was scared and confused, and I thought, I think you should leave. Marcus, please." The elevator dinged behind me. I turned and saw Sarah stepping out, purse over her shoulder, smiling when she saw me. She was meeting me for lunch. We'd planned it last week. Her hand went unconsciously to her small baby bump, a habit she'd developed in the past few weeks. Jenna's eyes locked on that bump immediately. Sarah read the situation in an instant, the tense body language, Jenna's tears, my rigid posture. She walked over calmly and took my hand. "Hey babe," she said warmly. "Ready for lunch?" "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt." I squeezed her hand, grateful for her presence. "No, perfect timing. Sarah, this is Jenna. Jenna, this is my wife, Sarah." The color drained from Jenna's face. She stared at Sarah's belly, at our intertwined hands, at the wedding ring on my finger. Sarah extended her other hand politely. "Nice to meet you." Jenna didn't take it, just kept staring. "You're married?" she finally said, looking at me. 2 months ago. Sarah, can you give me just a minute? I asked gently. She squeezed my hand again. Of course. I'll be at the car. She walked away, throwing me one last supportive glance over her shoulder. Jenna watched her go, then turned back to me. Her voice came out broken. You moved on. You're having a baby. Yes. That could have been us. Tears spilled over. That should have been us. We were together for years, Marcus. For years, and you replaced me like I meant nothing. That's not what happened. Then what? You just stopped loving me overnight. I stopped loving you when I realized the person I loved never existed. You showed me exactly who you were. I believed you. I was scared. I made a mistake when I was scared. You made multiple choices over months. You chose Derek. You chose to lie to me about the pregnancy. You chose to try to trap me into raising another man's child. Those aren't mistakes, Jenna. That's character. So what? I'm just supposed to struggle forever while you get everything. Her voice turned bitter. The perfect career, the perfect wife, the perfect baby? You're supposed to build your life like everyone else does. Work, save, take care of your son. While you get everything you wanted? I built this. After you left me with nothing but betrayal and lies, I rebuilt from the ground up. I didn't leave you. She was crying openly now. You left me. I needed you, and you abandoned me. You left me the moment you slept with Derek. Everything after that was just paperwork. Liam had stopped playing with his cars and was watching his mother cry. My heart broke for him. He didn't deserve any of this. But that didn't change anything. You really don't feel anything? Jenna whispered. Looking at me now, you feel nothing? I feel sorry that Liam has to see his mother like this. That's all. She flinched like I'd slapped her. You're cruel. You always were cruel. Cold and focused on your stupid buildings instead of me. And yet you're here asking me for help. I made you. Her voice rose again. I supported you through school, through your early career, through everything, and you just throw me away. You cheated on me for months. You lied about paternity. There's nothing else to say. What if? She took a shaky breath, tried one last desperate pivot. What if we just try to talk? Get coffee? I've changed, Marcus. I've really changed. If you could just see, Jenna. I kept my voice level, final. I'm married. I'm having a child with someone I love and trust. I have a life that makes me happy. You're not part of it. You never will be. I need you to accept that and move on. You can't just, I'm going to lunch with my wife now. Please don't come to my workplace again. If you need something legal, contact a lawyer. I turned and walked toward the exit. I hate you, she screamed after me. Liam started crying. I hate you for this. You ruined my life. I pushed through the doors and didn't look back. Sarah was waiting by the car. She pulled me into a hug immediately. You okay? She asked softly. Yeah. I was surprised to realize it was true. I am. That was her. The ex. That was her. She seems. Sarah paused, choosing her words carefully. Lost. She made choices. She's living with them. We got in the car. Sarah reached over and took my hand as I started the engine. Did you feel anything? She asked. Seeing her like that, I thought about it honestly. Tried to locate some ember of the feelings I'd had 5 years ago. The love, the betrayal, the anger, even the hate. But there was nothing there. Just empty space where Jenna used to live in my head. No, I said. I didn't. She's just someone who hurt me once, a long time ago. That's all. Sarah smiled. Good. Because we have a life to build. And baby names to argue about. I laughed. The first real laugh I'd had all day. You're not seriously still pushing for River, are you? It's nature-inspired and gender-neutral. It's a geographical feature. We bickered playfully all the way to the restaurant, and I realized something important. This was what it was supposed to feel like. Easy. Real. Built on honesty instead of lies. That night, Sarah fell asleep early, pregnancy exhaustion, and I sat on our back porch with a beer, looking at the house we'd bought together. The career I'd built. The family I was creating with someone who'd never made me doubt or question or wonder. 5 years ago, sitting in that lawyer's office reading those test results, I thought my life was ending. Thought I'd lost everything that mattered. But I just lost someone who was never really mine to begin with. The life I actually wanted, the real one, built on truth, had been waiting for me all along. I just had to let go of the fake one first. I never heard from Jenna again. A mutual friend mentioned months later that she'd moved to another state to live with some relative, starting over somewhere cheaper. I hoped, distantly, that she'd find some peace. That Liam would be okay. But mostly, I just didn't think about her. My son was born 6 months after that encounter in the lobby. We named him James, after my father. Sarah and I got married in our backyard with 50 people who actually loved us. The firm gave me a corner office and my own team. Sometimes people ask me if I have any regrets about how things ended with Jenna. If I ever wonder what might have been if I'd forgiven her, given her another chance, tried to make it work. The answer is simple: no. Because the life I have now, the one I built with someone who respects me, who chose me every day, who never made me question my worth. This is the life I was always meant to have. I just had to stop settling for less than I deserved to find it. And standing in that lobby, introducing Jenna to my pregnant wife, watching her realize exactly what she'd lost and who I'd become without her, that wasn't revenge. That was just the natural consequence of her choices meeting the natural result of mine. She chose Derek. She chose lies. She chose to try to trap me. I chose honesty. I chose myself. I chose to build something real with someone worthy of it. 5 years ago, she told me I'd never do better than her, that I'd end up alone and regret losing her. She was wrong about all of it. And the best part? I didn't need her to know that for it to be true. I'd already moved on so completely that her opinion had stopped mattering years ago. That's not cruelty. That's not revenge. That's just freedom. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. What do you think about this story? Share it in the comments.